Welcome to episode number 47 of the Chips and Chops podcast. We would like to first shout out Stocker Meast for making this podcast possible and super high quality. Stocker Meast is a collaborative workspace that exists for co-working and events, and it's also where we film all of our podcasts. With us today is Gabe Anderson, a rising junior at Villanova, an Adams graduate, a South Bend native, and most of all, at the heart of it all, he's a hustler. Gabe has been a hustler his whole life, but really started chasing the dream of financial freedom starting in elementary school, as he had his own snack stand that he would sell at Notre Dame football games. Then during COVID, he started really making a name for himself when he began his sneaker page called 574 Sneakers. Back then, he would work 12-plus hour days grinding his business to the point he got super burnt out and he almost quit. Fast forward to now, he's still selling sneakers, but is more focused on other things like day trading and the stock market. You know, financial freedom is something that I think a lot of people our age kind of like dream of. Literally just seeing TikToks and, you could say YouTube shorts. But I think it's kind of crazy that someone actually, figured out how to do it. So Gabe, take us back to elementary school. Like, what was your first memory of having your small business and what prompted you to do that?
Yeah, all right. So it started with Notre Dame football game day culture. I live close to Notre Dame. Obviously, everyone's probably big into it, being around from South Bend, Indiana. So I would see a lot of people with like these snack stands, hot dog stands, candy stands on football game days, just making a lot of money, selling all that stuff. And it was really intriguing to me. And I was like, I could probably do something similar without even going onto campus, because we live really close to Notre Dame. So every time there's a game day, there's a lot of fans that will walk by our house on the way to the stadium. Traffic, So definitely a bit lucky there, but a lot of foot traffic in front of the house.
Being an elementary school kid definitely helped you.
Yeah, that's true too.
Like literally something I realize now is like since I'm about to graduate high school, is I'm like losing so much leverage.
Yeah, you lose the halo effect where you're a kid and everyone thinks it's cute that you're trying to do something.
The younger you are, you can really like milk your age.
You can milk that. Yeah, you can milk it for sure. So that definitely played a part as well. And then my younger sister also helped me with this. Shout out Mariana. I don't know, some of you guys might know her.
Is she as much of a businessy person as you are? I know.
I wouldn't say so. She is actually into business a good amount. She does some Depop stuff now. She sells some clothes, but she was definitely just as much or more into the whole snack stand thing back when we were doing that.
And even younger age, that's pretty impressive.
And even younger age.
I mean, when you're young, like you get so much joy from all that kind of stuff.
I remember doing like lemonade stand probably one day and
it's
selling it for 25 cents. Oh man, all these coins! I was so excited. I could go to the gas station and buy a drink or something.
For real, it's just like a sense of euphoria when you make a sale, and so that happened.
Do you think it's how like you're wired? Like you just want to like chase that, like you could say like money,
chase the bag,
but like literally chasing the bag. Because I think, like for me personally, like I'm kind of in like the middle. Like I don't care enough to, start my own sneaker page and start reselling.
Right.
But like I still, have a job and want to make money.
No, for sure. I would say I'm wired that way. I definitely have always tried to like find honest ways to make money and to create business opportunities for myself where they might not have existed had I not tried. So definitely the snack stand was the big defining first moment, and I was doing it for years. I mean, and I'm talking night games, we'd be out there the whole time, cold games in November, 20 damn degrees outside, me and my sister outside selling hot coffees, hot chocolates, Sour Patch, Doritos, you name it. So that was definitely really like a fundamental moment in terms of my, I would say, discovery for wanting to be an entrepreneur. But at the same time, I like had that drive before I started, and my parents thankfully like let me pursue it.
So you did that all the way from elementary school to middle school?
I did it up until 8th grade. I stopped doing it as a freshman in high school.
Because you wanted to go to the tailgates.
Because I wanted to go to the tailgates. I wanted to socialize. I was meeting new people. And funny enough, I actually think the snack stand had its best year that year.
Really?
My sister was out there killing it.
Doing it by herself?
She was doing it by herself. She didn't quit.
You got a little upset, didn't you?
A little bit. I saw her rack up like $1,000 at the Georgia game, and I'm like,
that's actually incredible.
Yeah, I was like, damn, I just missed out on the best career day. But
so, I mean, like, you started your sneaker business junior year. Has, like, fashion or, like, you could even say, like, sneaker culture been, like, always, like, a big thing to you?
Yes.
I remember back in middle school, I was, like, following, like, JT Customs, if you remember him. And, like, I would watch videos. like for me, like it was so cool, like all that type of stuff. Nowadays,
It
I'll rock the same pair of shoes every single day.
I mean, some of the stuff.
I got beater forces on.
Yeah.
I really don't even wear what I sell.
Like some of the stuff Joey be pulling up to school and like
I like
it'll be like a lime green shirt on like dark green pants, and it's
he's pulling the 5th grade neon combo.
Yesterday was the dark blue shirt on light blue shorts, and these shorts aren't like they're not like shorts. It's like shorts that go past your knees.
Yeah, I've always been a shorts past your knees type of guy, but I personally just don't care about it. Is that what like drew you to starting your sneaker business? Is like you loved what was it?
I love. So I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
are you a hype beast?
No, I'm actually not. And it's crazy. I've got essentials on.
Yeah.
This is my most comfortable hoodie. This is like one of the only hype things I own. It's funny. I'll get into this later, but I used to have like a huge collection for myself. Now I just wear Vans and Forces every day. But to answer the question,
like how'd you get into it?
Honestly, it might be kind of cringy, but rap culture. I was introduced to a lot of rap music in high school. Freshman year. I went to a really small middle school and like barely even had a phone for my own until like high school. So the rap culture, like just like music videos on World Star.
Who exactly? Like any
Kanye West. Kanye West got me into fashion a lot.
He's into fashion. I was gonna say Kanye West got me into rap.
Both.
Yeah.
I know he's a controversial figure. I don't support some of his recent things, but I will accredit him to a lot of my interests.
He's very intelligent.
Yeah, I mean,
so nowadays,
business-wise, yeah.
Nowadays, who do you like listen to a lot? Back then it was Kanye. That was probably 4 years ago.
That was, yes. Nowadays, I literally listen to everything. And I'm I listen to rap. I listen to pop sometimes. I listen to a lot of hard style EDM when I'm at the gym. A lot of that like Ziz stuff. A lot of country too.
Really?
I listen to country.
I listen to like one country song, and other than that, it's all like. Who's like your current like? Do you have like a favorite rapper though nowadays?
Yeah, Uzi. Uzi's always gonna be my favorite rapper. I don't really see that changing.
Yeah, one of my favorite songs of all time is by Uzi. The Way Life Goes.
That's a good song.
That's like obvious.
That's a classic song.
Yeah.
I love it.
What are you thinking about? I was just listening to him on the way here. Kosher, BLP Kosher.
Do you know who that is?
He's like the Jewish rapper.
I haven't heard him yet. Is he tough?
Bro,
I'm gonna have to play you one of the songs, but like just like the words he uses and the ways he puts them together are just.
And
like,
Dave, you're kind of an aspiring rapper, aren't you? This man, he's probably sent me like 1,000 verses in the last 6 months alone.
Go chase the dream, man.
Literally, like if
I literally just like
574.
I have a notes thing that just has a bunch of random verses I just like came up with on the spot.
Yeah, I mean you can.
Like I'll hear a verse and I'll figure out a way to like go off of
whatever
that,
you send me really tells me like how your day's going. You know what I mean? Like
he gets emotional.
What was the one I sent you right before the pod was it's like.
Bro, you did not send me one before the pod.
I did. You guys never respond to my things anymore.
In the group chat?
Yeah. I ain't Irish, but my money Dublin.
W. I like it.
Like that's
tough.
So
clean bar.
Yeah. So you got into rap culture, which
so I got into rap culture.
Fashion.
I also a lot of reggaeton artists like
you even rolled the R.
Yeah, well
David is Cuban.
No, Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican. Bro, the flags look similar. Okay,
they do.
That.
No, you're good.
Okay.
I've gotten that one before. Sometimes like people will add me on Snapchat and like they put a flag next to my name, like remember or whatever, and it's I look at their phone and it's the Cuba flag. I'm like, are you fucking serious, dude?
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So anyway, a lot of reggaeton artists and Kanye West. There were some others I know Young Thug was kind of popping. Still is a really good artist.
Free Young Thug.
Yeah, Free Young Thug. Him, then like Lil Baby, Gunna started coming up, and I followed him on Instagram, and they always had crazy fits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these shoes are sick. And even some kids at Adams had cool Jordans on and stuff. Definitely stuff that was a lot cooler than what I saw in middle school. So I'm like, I got into it.
When did you decide like you literally started like a business? Like you're reselling on Instagram, and
Yeah.
5,000 followers by your senior year?
Yeah, mid-senior year.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact
5,000 is like an incredible amount.
Yeah. It was pretty good, and now I'm at like 13 or something. I don't know. It's slowed down the growth a bit because I've slowed down, but we'll talk about that later as well.
So like why did you the moment that you decided okay, I'm gonna start reselling, how did it all go down?
Yeah, so I think it was a gradual process of a buildup of that fashion interest that we talked about, where I just was into fashion. And then senior year, Well, okay. First of all, I'll preface this by saying junior year in the fall, before COVID was a thing, before any of that mess, I bought my first pair of Yeezys.
How much?
It was a used pair of cream Yeezys, the all white ones, triple whites. I think I bought them for like $170.
That's not bad.
$180. It was a pretty good deal back then. They used to also go for more.
Yeah.
They were rarer and there were less colors. So I bought those, and that was like my first hype shoe. I'm trying to remember, but I'm pretty sure it was my first like hype shoe I ever got, and it felt good. I was like, oh, nice. Now I have like a pair for myself, and the intention wasn't to sell those. I just wanted to wear them, and I did, and I wore them for months, and then COVID came around, and I had like a few extra $100 at my disposal. I had a friend reach out to me to sell me a pair of Yeezys, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna buy them. They were a good deal. And I bought those, and now I was sitting on 2 pairs of Yeezys. Both were for wearing. Yeah. None of this was for selling. But I had that, inventory to start building up. And then a few hundred cash, really not much more than that. I had a few thousand probably saved up from the snack stand.
Yeah.
And I also did mowing a little bit throughout like 8th, 9th, 10th grade. Yeah. So I had that in my bank account, but my parents were not letting me touch it because they were like, that's college money. Yeah. And I'm like, all right, yeah, that's fair. I didn't really have much else to my name, so I thought it's probably good to have money not to touch.
So you've never had like a typical job?
No.
Like, have you ever had a W-2?
What?
Have you ever had a W-2?
No. No, I've never worked.
That's what I think is so interesting. Like, you've always been like your own boss in a way.
That's how I'd put it. I just and it's not even like I'm not even one of those people that's like, oh, don't get stuck in the rat race. You should never work a 9 to 5, because I actually think there's huge benefit in some points of working like
having that consistency.
Classic consistency. Having to respond to a boss, and it's a skill that I haven't developed yet that I might need someday.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Hopefully I'll be able to just run my own businesses my whole life, but. So there's nothing wrong with that. For you people watching, don't think you have to escape your 9 to 5 as a fucking high school student. Like you're gonna figure it out. But for me personally, and this is not a conventional thing, this is just how I have been from a mix of luck and drive. I really haven't ever had a 9 to 5. I've always found my own ways to make money. And
that's crazy.
There was a period of time where I wasn't really making money, to be honest. Like sophomore year. I was kind of one of those Fortnite kids. Yeah, I thought I was going to make some money off that. Never really did.
You tried to go pro?
I was trying to go pro through a PlayStation. Yeah. Like, I wasn't going to go pro.
No, we had someone on the pod that actually won like a couple of those cash cups.
Oh, really?
On
yeah,
PlayStation.
I won like some V-Bucks off some like solo showdown thing. Yeah. And I won like a few bucks, like random 1v1ing kids on Twitch. They actually paid me. But like other than that, didn't really make much off Fortnite. No, so that wasn't the move. But
yeah, so going back to the sneakers, like you were just building your inventory. You had 2 pairs of Yeezys.
Yeah, and it was, like I said, it wasn't even really a conscious thing. It was just like it was happening, but I wasn't thinking of it that way. And then COVID came, and I had always seen resellers on YouTube. I don't know if you guys know Benjamin Kicks, Business is Booming Kid. He's actually pretty big on YouTube. I bet he's over 1 million subscribers. He's like one of those kids that sells to like the celebs. He's in Miami. He sells to like DJ Khaled. Like he's big time. And he kind of inspired me, I would say, a little bit. I'm not gonna hate, but I find his antics and like mannerisms kind of annoying. Like he's a bit too flashy, and that's not how I want to be. But he definitely has a good, like really good business hustler mindset. So that part inspired me for sure. So
when did you make like the Instagram page? Because
that's what it was. I made it during the start of COVID.
Okay.
And I wasn't really on it much because I made the Instagram page, I think January of 2020.
Okay.
Before COVID started and way before I even used it. I made it like thinking in the back of my head, I'm going to get to this someday, which is the interesting part. This is when I had the 2 Yeezys, didn't plan on selling them, but I'm like, if I ever want to get rid of these Yeezys, why don't I just make a reselling page out of it? And it wasn't ever a plan to make a big business, but I was like, and I literally could have just posted the Yeezys on my Snapchat story and someone would have bought them. More people would have seen it. Yeah. I had more people on Snapchat than followers there, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
But, so I made that account. I had the Yeezys. And then 2 months later, mid-March, the day that changed pretty much history.
Yep.
COVID hit,
March 13th.
school's down, everything, stock market crashes, everything. There's just a lot of stuff going on, and I'm like, hold on a second. So I could probably sell these shoes. I'm not going to be going out anymore for a while. So let me just get some money. And my parents had finally said, like, yeah, you should start, like, because I had told them about the reselling, but they were kind of reluctant when I was like,
well, yeah, because that's not a normal thing.
Yeah, and it's also
that wasn't a thing when they were a kid.
Yeah, and it also is like, it can be unsafe. I'm not trying to scare people, but like if you meet up with the wrong people or like meet up with people at night, like it can be kind of risky, I guess. I don't like to focus on that part of it, but so yeah, definitely I started that up, the Instagram page, sold my Yeezys off, and from there on out I had like, probably a few $100, near $1,000 in cash working.
Yeah.
And then I would post things on my Snapchat. And it's interesting because I've got my Instagram now, and that's how people probably know me. If any of you guys here know me, you probably know me through my Instagram. I was trapping shoes on the Snapchat for a while. That was my main thing, because I had local friends just from Adams, and then what I would do is I would have them like repost shoes for me. So I'm really thankful. I'm not even gonna get into all the names. There's a good amount of people, I'll say, who supported and helped me out.
Yeah.
Like hit this guy up for shoes. I'd sell him a shoe, like my close friends, and I'd say, yo, can you post me, tag me when you're done? So I got a lot of ads. Just add them all back. I don't know who they are, but they were kids from South Bend area. And so I would have them drop me references on my Instagram and drop me follows on my Instagram, even though I met them through Snapchat. And so I also would do like story posts. I'd be like, yo, I'm buying shoes right now. And when I get all those people that had added me to buy shoes off me, a lot of those people, given that they were into shoes, had shoes they didn't want.
Yeah.
And so that kind of just started the cycle of I'd post up on my Snap story, main story. A lot of people that probably didn't give a shit, didn't want to see it. You know how people are, like some people think it's annoying when you spam your main story. I would never say I spammed it, but I didn't really care. I'm like, you know what? This is my outlet. I'm going to use it. So Snapchat was the outlet for probably until June of 2020.
Yeah, okay. And then during that summer, that's when you started like really going hard. Like you were
really went hard on Instagram.
Like you were working like you were doing that for 10, 12 hours a day.
I was doing it. I was going hard.
And during that summer, I mean, that's the best time to do it. Cannot, you can't really go out. You can't really go out and do anything.
You can't beat it.
I wish I was. I wasn't productive at all during COVID.
Yeah,
I hopped on the game.
Yeah, I hopped on the game a lot too. There were a lot of hours that I guess you could say wasted. But I'm pretty happy with how I spent my time.
What was it like though? Like working, literally like more than a full-time job. Like you're a junior. I mean, sure it's your own thing, but like you're doing 12 hours.
It was invigorating.
Like you said, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Like that's.
Like e-learning was optional for you. Like e-learning came second.
Yeah, e-learning was like a joke.
Yeah.
It was not hard.
So back then, like you'd say that you really like just threw yourself into it.
Yeah, I would. So I mean, because like you said, there wasn't really a chance to be social.
Yeah.
I would have loved to be. I would have been out doing dumb shit with my friends, like pretty much anyone else would have rather been than cooped up in their house all day. But because I was almost forced in that situation, I think that's the only reason that it succeeded at the time it did. I do think I would have gotten around to reselling and figured it out, but it went fast. It blew up faster than I thought it was gonna. And that, traction that I was gaining made me keep doing it. Because like I said, when I started with the Yeezys and just wanted to sell them off, this wasn't the plan to be doing 300, 400, 500 pair sale months.
Yeah.
Like I was thinking, I'm going to start reselling a little bit here and there, like buy shoes in my size, wear them for a bit because I obviously liked fashion, and then sell them off, hopefully break even or maybe even profit a bit after I clean them up. That was the idea.
What was your family thinking about it during the time?
They honestly, so my family was always supportive but skeptical is how I would call it. They were, my mom especially, was worried, I think, about like my safety because I was doing a lot of local meetups.
Yeah, could you even drive back then? Like,
no.
So you're like biking to people's?
No. I had people pull up on me like I was dropping my Addy.
That's something.
I know. And when I look back at it, it's like whoa, that was kind of careless.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm really lucky because...
And you never had any, like, horror stories?
No, never any horror stories. No.
Nobody pulled out anything on you?
No, nobody pulled out anything on me. Like,
well, because, like, there's some people, like, there was a guy that used to be on my TikTok that, like, would do it, and he'd go to, like parking garages and stuff, and, like, people would, like, get into fights with him and stuff.
Yeah, no,
like, he'd do, like, the price matches, and then he'd, like, flip a coin, and it was either $30 more or $30 less, and people would do it and get really upset when they guess the coin wrong, and, like, they try to fight him and stuff.
That's crazy. No, I literally, that's what I was going to say. There's definitely a luck aspect to this because I was blessed with never meeting up with someone who had bad intentions going into the deal. Or at least they didn't exercise them, you know? So, even though the dropping Addy thing is kind of wild, like, I would not recommend dropping Addy like that, but I think it obviously made it to where, like, no one that was legit about wanting to do a shoe deal is going to come to my house in front of my Ring doorbell and pull some shit on me.
Yeah.
Right? But that's a risk you've got to know. So if I'm on here talking and anyone's watching, and hopefully I inspire some people who are into fashion to try to get into reselling, like, always put your safety first, because I've been in the resale community quite a long time, and you know, nobody I've known personally, but I've seen, because now I'm on Instagram, and most of my time I've been on Instagram as a reseller, and I've seen people repost those rest in peace to, you know, to kids who get meet up with the wrong person at the wrong time at the wrong place, and I mean people get killed over this shit. You know, $1,000 pair of Travis Scotts, somebody's willing to, you know, you put up a fight when they try to take it. You never know. You never know. So you got to be careful for sure. But the way I did it was very risky in the sense that, like, my Addy's all over the place, but it's also, like, safe in that no one's going to come to my house if they're planning on, like, if we're making a deal and I say,
it's probably safer to do that. Because, I mean, you said you live near Notre Dame. You could have just, like, met up at, like, Eddy Street or something.
I did a few of those, too.
Okay.
I did a lot of Eddy Street meetups. I did some meetups in front of, like, Chipotle. It's, like, in broad daylight, too. Like, you really have to, if you're doing local meetups, I would recommend. Unfortunately, in the world we live in, you've got to, you know, have it to where as many factors are working for your safety as possible. Yeah.
So, I mean, working, like, the incredible amount of hours that you did, how did you deal with, like, burnout?
Yeah, so burnout, that's a big topic for me. So obviously, you know, that spring I was doing a lot of local stuff. It started to escalate to the point where I would have the locals drop me references and get my page to a, you know, more trusted level. And at that point, I started receiving payments first from people who wanted me to ship stuff. And the shipping is where the workload kind of went up, right? Because obviously it was a lot of work doing all the planning for the local meetups and stuff. But I mean, people would drive to me. I'd just hand them the shoes. They'd hand me the money. And it was, I don't want to say easy. It was still a lot of planning and, you know, tracking all my sales that went into it. But it was a piece of cake compared to what I had gotten myself into by the time I had earned more of a reputation. And so when I started shipping, that's where it became hard, you know, hard in terms of the amount of time I spent on it, because I would have to get boxes at Home Depot. At this point, I could drive, summer 2020. So I'd have to get boxes at Home Depot, tape all the shoes up, make shipping labels. I'd have to manually make each one for every person that bought every shoe. And I later developed a better system to make it more efficient. But at the time, it wasn't large enough of a scale for it to make sense for me to, like, make mass, you know, shipping systems, right? So it was definitely difficult. And that whole summer, I'd say from May to August is when I was working my ass off, because I had gained enough traction on Instagram to where I had a following and enough, like, people DMing me at any given time to, like, have a reason to always be on there, for lack of better words, right? And it's not like, I wouldn't say that in a negative tone as much, because it's not like I'm sitting on TikTok just scrolling through doing nothing. Like, I was making deals, making connections, but I was on Instagram for, like, I want to say 6-7 hours a day. That was the majority of the time. And you'd think that'd be relaxing, but it's not.
No.
It's not relaxing. You're trying to plan stuff.
Yeah, you'd be, like, scared opening that app, you know? Like, oh my gosh.
There's just a lot of stuff. Then you buy pairs and you've got to send them the Cash App, you've got to, or the PayPal, Venmo, you've got to put it all into your spreadsheet. And so that all, you know, by the time I'm done after recording what I've bought, because you need to keep track of everything, it's like, all right, well, there's 9 hours of my day, not out the window. I won't say that because I was doing productive things, but there's 9 hours, and then, I get shoes in the mail around 12, 1, 2. Sometimes they were late and it'd piss me off. Unbox, record what came in, take videos of them to post them because the people that want to buy your shoes, because I was working with a lot of used, well, they want to see what it looks like. So then you post them up. You got to respond to everybody. You got to respond to the people who are offering, negotiate here and there, check what you paid to see if you can price drop. So there was a lot of stuff when I started blowing up, or I wasn't even blowing up on Instagram in summer of 2020, but I had probably 1,000, 2,000. I was growing.
Yeah.
I was growing. And once you're at that spot, it's like there's always something to do. And I do think my dedication to being on so much is why I got big faster, right? Because when you're active and you're posting, Instagram algorithm really likes that. You're on the app, they're going to push your content. But it would burn me out because I would, after all that stuff I just explained, on an average day where I'd get even just a few shoes in the mail at this point, because my capital wasn't that big yet, it was in the 4 or 5 figures, but I would probably, I'm trying to think, 12-hour days, and it literally, sometimes
too much. Sometimes your boys were texting you hop on Fort, and you're like,
that was big.
I gotta sell some shoes, man, and they're probably like, man, come on, take a break.
That was big. Well, that's funny you mentioned that, because that was actually one of the big distractions, and I was thankful that it wasn't like, yo, Gabe, come out and hang out with us, come to this party with us, because I didn't have any of that because of COVID.
You probably would have. It's easier to say yes to that than say yes to just hopping on Fort.
I would have said yes to that. And I still did hop on Fort sometimes, and that would eat into my sleep though, right?
Yeah.
So there's a trade-off with everything.
So it would eat into your sleep rather than eating into your selling.
But I think a little bit of both. But I would say Fort, when I was hopping on the game, Fortnite was all I was playing back then. It's what most people were playing. It was a fun time in Fortnite. Maybe it's just the nostalgia with COVID. But it was a good period.
But it was rough though. I'm curious, during that time when you were working such an insane amount, I can imagine that was really stressful. What would you say is the biggest lesson that you learned during that time?
Definitely just not to overwork yourself and
burn
yourself out.
So there's not some
How do you know How do you know when you're overworking yourself?
I think it's kind of just intuitive. It's different for everybody, to be honest, and it's different depending on what industry you're in and what you're doing. But by the end of August, so I'd say start of senior year, right? We're on e-learning, and this is where I'm like, shit, dude, I can't do this anymore. I was so tired of these 12, 14-hour days.
And you're going to be going to school, you're going to not be able to.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I thought, right? E-learning made it pretty easy to be able to still do shoes, but I took a break. I ended up cutting it off. I will say part of that was to focus on college applications and stuff.
Yeah.
Because that was, a big thing. Yeah. And it was just a big time in my life. And also, I think things were opening up a little bit to the point where I specifically remember I'd hang out in person with a lot of my friends at that point. So that coincided with my break, which is interesting because the times where I was being very social were when the business was off in high school. So there was a little bit of a lack of balance, but thankfully the whole nature of the business being a COVID, era business made it so I wasn't actually missing out on that much social stuff, right? So, and that's probably why I went so hard with it.
Yeah.
But,
so you end up taking a break.
I ended up taking a break.
Just off your socials, right?
I was off IG. It's a funny story. So I was getting frustrated. There were, because when you do business, there's going to be a lot of immature people, some people who don't know how to do it, some people that'll just go on your shoes and offer way low. And it's bro, I can't.
It's not even worth responding
it's
to.
Not even worth it. It wastes your energy. So that was kind of getting to me a bit, to be honest. And I took a break from late August to late November. So I'm not even, how many months is that in my head? That's quite a break is the point.
3 months.
And I had some shoes left over that I hadn't sold in August that I wish I would have just kept them around until I was ready to sell again and sell them at full price. But I ended up losing money on some of them, just here, go. I don't want to see shoes right now. It got that bad of a burnout where I was I have 10, 15 pairs left. Thank God it wasn't 100, right? I had sold most of my stuff.
What was it like having 100 pairs? Some of the flicks, you got 100 pairs laid out and you're just chilling with them. What is that like? If you
guys want to see, it's on the Instagram.
I know, no, well, I'll throw up a flick, but what is that like?
It's pretty cool. I can't lie.
I feel like it's so cool. Like, you're just sitting there and there's just like 100 boxes of shoes.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Like, your dad walks by and it's like, what is Gabe doing? Like,
yeah, well, my dad, shout out my dad. A lot of times he'd help me set up those flicks. He'd
for real?
Like bring out the shoes to wherever. But a lot of my bigger posts that went crazy with a ton of shoes, that was after this burnout period that I'm talking about. And it's funny how taking a break totally elevated my business.
It gives you a lot of motivation.
Yeah, it gave me motivation. I took like a solid 3 months off where I had nothing to do with shoes. I wasn't thinking about it. The only thing I thought about with cool shoes, like hype shoes, was the fact that I owned some myself at the time and I'd wear them out. Yeah. But
so how did you, during that time, did you learn how to balance, social life, school, making money?
I think so.
Then like how I'm curious, like how did you do that? Because it's your senior year of high school.
It was hard.
You went from working 12-hour days. I mean, you're in school for 7-8 hours. How did you, balance it all?
Yeah, it was difficult. So I'll get into the balancing in school. A lot of times in school, I'd be making deals on my phone, like just in off times, passing period, whatever. I'd hit a few DM deals, but the stopping the business, I don't know if it was the right move, like because I didn't really balance. That's the problem. Because to me, and I've talked about this before, so anyone who knows me well might know this, but I'm a kind of extremist person in the fact that I'm like wired to give something either my full dedication and like push as hard as possible to get good at it or to get success in it, or if I don't feel like something, if it's something that I'm passionate about, then I just cut it off because I'm like, if I'm not going to fully dedicate to this, why would I do it?
Yeah.
Right? So that's the problem. It wasn't actually really balanced in that break period because I dropped the business. And I actually didn't really even know I was going to come back to it, like I said, because I didn't.
What made you come back to it?
I'm not even going to lie. So my friends, Eric Gatow and Caden Jurgensen. I don't know if you guys know him.
I know, bro. Caden was on my golf team my freshman
he's a great guy.
My sophomore year. I loved him.
Great guy. But yeah, so I wouldn't say they didn't even really push me to get back into reselling. I wouldn't say. We were all kind of talking about reselling, and they said they wanted to start doing it, and I'm like, oh yeah, they had a few pairs, right, that I was like, oh, I could probably sell those for you guys. They didn't have a platform, and I was like, I can post them up for you guys on 574, see how they sell.
Just helping your friends out.
Yeah, just helping my friends out. Like, I mean, I was pretty close to them both at the time, so it was like beneficial. I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. And
I offered to. I was like, yeah, if you guys want them gone to get some capital to start up with reselling, let me just sell the stuff you guys got right now. And so I posted them up on 574. I had no inventory at the time, by the way. It was just their stuff. And they were priced pretty well because they were shoes the two just didn't want. But they were good shoes, and they sold so fast. And I'm like, wait a second. My engagement hasn't dropped to 0. And so I talked to them. I'm like, yo, boys, like and they also gave me like a 10% cut, by the way. So I was getting some benefit as well. They just insisted I keep a little bit.
Yeah, they offered.
And they sold within the next 12 hours. I texted them like, holy shit, that sold fast. Why aren't you still doing it? And that question, I forget which one of them asked me. We had a group chat. And I was like, why am I not still doing it? And I knew in my back of my head that I was like, I took a break. I was burnt the hell out. I couldn't do it anymore. It was like destroying my sleep schedule, my mental health, at that time. But then I'm like, well, why am I so extreme about it? Why can't I just get into it a little bit, right? So I bought like a few pairs just seeing how it would go, and they sold on my own. And then it's like the whole extremist thing kicked back in, the drive.
Time to go again.
Passion.
Yeah.
It's time to go again. I was getting 30, 40 pairs a week, more. And then by December, I think in December of 2020, I did like 300, 400 pairs sold. That's
like an out of this world number to me. That's like upwards of 10, 15 pairs a day.
Yeah, it exactly what it was. Yeah. And I mean, dude, like I said, in mid-November, I started again with like 3 or 4 shoes from my friends. And then for the rest of November, I probably sold like 10 to 15 pairs on my own. And then the gears just kicked back in.
Did you mind like being known as like the sneaker guy in high school?
I didn't mind it at all. I mean,
was it something a lot of people were like aware of? Like, oh, this guy's, making good bread.
I think
selling sneakers.
I think, and one thing I kind of regret, not because I wouldn't say people got a bad impression of me because of it, but I would wear a lot of like, I had my own collection that was pretty. I'll say
it was a lot better
flashy.
Than everyone else's.
It was pretty flashy. I'm not trying to brag, but I had some good shoes, like some really hype, sought after shoes. Some off-whites, some off-white UNCs. That was my favorite pair. Wish I'd kept them. I don't have them anymore. But so I had a lot of flashy stuff, and everyone knew because of that, and a mixture of a lot of them had just seen my COVID era Snapchat stories that I was doing shoes, and I was lucky enough not really to get hate, at least not to my face. If people wanted to talk shit behind my back, I don't really know. I guess some of you might have, but I wouldn't have known about it.
Yeah.
People were pretty supportive, and I had a solid friend group, and a lot of my friend group themselves, like I just said, were into shoes as well. So, but it was interesting being known as the shoe guy, like just the kid who has his business. I mean,
it's interesting being known as the podcast guys.
Yeah, seriously,
it was
kind of been like our whole like characteristic for the whole like senior year.
Well, I mean, I would say it's better to have some defining characteristic and do something that's kind of out there than to like just blend in with the crowd, not to sound cocky.
Just like define other people instead.
Yeah.
Or to be known as something a little more negative. Or like just negative.
Yeah,
even if that's right or wrong, like
right.
I mean, like some people do say that they use it as a negative thing.
Yeah, I think there are some people who will like put a negative label on the kids who are doing their own business. I mean, I'm not gonna go into a rant about that because it might sound like dickish, but I do think that a lot of the kids who like hate on people who are doing their own business and trying to get something successful going are really, frankly, just lazy and they won't do anything.
And
cool
I think you could say jealous.
And I've gotten like hate as a reseller, like through other Instagram resellers.
Well, I mean, resellers are it's a hated industry because like you're kind of like just like upscaling everyone, taxing everyone.
You guys are all competing with each other.
Yeah, there's a lot of competition, but a lot of friendship and networking too.
I know, like I don't ever do it, but like people hate on the resellers because they just like basically steal all the shoes from the people that just want one pair.
Oh yeah, I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those. I don't do botting.
Yeah, and then they tax it, so they just have bots that buy all like the things and then just tax them and.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
I know resellers are really hated, so.
Yeah, the resellers are kind of hated. I think specifically the bomb retail and get all the Nike sneakers drops resellers are hated. I wasn't one of those, but I guess some people find it cringe or whatever. I could give a fuck. But so the interesting thing I was going to say about the hate aspect, because I didn't get really any at Adams, thankfully, at least not to my face, like I said, but on Instagram, there'd always be some of the resellers that were kind of toxic and would call you out on stupid stuff, and you were willing to work with them, but they weren't. They just try to put dirt on your name. And I honestly can say, out of all of my experiences getting hate on Instagram from other resellers, never once did I look at a person on the other side of that and think, wow, this person is actually above me. Like in a reselling, like as in like having more followers or having a better career, doing it for longer.
Yeah.
So I think it's a common theme that
jealousy drives it.
Jealousy drives it. I'm not trying to sound cocky, but it is very rare from what I've seen, and anyone will say this, that you get hate from someone who's on your level or above it. Because if you're hustling in any space, right, and you've got you're dedicated to your craft, you're making money, whatever, the people who are better than you because they have even less time to dedicate to that negative energy.
So towards the end of like your senior year, do you think that, I mean, now you're going to be a junior in college, in those last 3 years, you figured out how to balance, like I said, social life, school, making money, improving your physical health as well.
Yes.
How have you found that? Yeah. How have you found that balance? Because like, those are 4 big things. I think you can do 2 of them really well together. I don't understand how you could do all 4 of them. I think that's...
Yeah, well, I mean, I try to do my best in everything.
Yeah.
There's areas where I lack in every area, just like everyone else. But
so talk about the transition.
Let's go through each though, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
so
if you wanna...
social life.
So the transition. Actually, we'll talk about the transition because that has to do with it. So like I said, I was going really crazy on the shoes by the end of senior year, and even starting like December 2020 all the way through spring, summer 2021. I was going crazy, selling hundreds of pairs a month consistently. Doing 6 figures in sales months. It's not profit. I'm not making but a lot of sales, and it was good money. And I was also balancing social life to an extent. It was still in the stage where like there wasn't as much going on as normal because COVID was still around, and then we got like a resurgence that summer for some reason. I don't know if you guys remember.
Yeah,
but
I do.
I was still hitting the grad parties and hanging out with my friends for my last summer as a high schooler. But once I got to college, and this is the interesting part that many people might be confused by, I actually didn't keep doing my 574 business the way I usually do it. Meaning when I got there, first of all, I went into college off of a great summer of good balance, and I wasn't really burnt out by that point. Maybe a little bit. Maybe I was excited.
You were having a good time. And
I was having a good time with everything. And the business, I had, found a way to make the business good for me to where I wasn't getting burnt out. So there wasn't any bad blood between like me and my business by the time I got to college. But I had specifically planned on taking at least 1 month break to settle into college.
At least.
Right?
I was like take like a 6 month break.
Yeah, no, I was like, that was my idea. I was thinking it was only going to be 1 month. Then I got to my dorm and I'm starting to think, I got a roommate, we were good friends. I'm like, is there really space for like 50, 60, 70 shoes in here? The answer was no. I found that out. I didn't try it. I just, it was intuitive. I got some shoes sent to me at Villanova, some like expensive ones, and would sell them but it was like 2-3 sales a week for the, after the first month where I didn't touch shoes.
Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to just settle in, meet people, because I was the only person from Adams going to Villanova. So
Probably the only person from South Bend, you think?
No, there's a few others.
Okay.
But from Adams, I'm the only one.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm gonna branch out, meet people, be social, and that's what I did for the first month. And that's what I did throughout my entirety of being in college. But definitely, I wanted to focus on that specifically when I got to college. Yeah. And then my plan was to kind of kickstart the business back up to a lesser degree, but similar degree to what it was going like that summer when I was really popping.
Yeah.
And it just never happened. So instead of giving up and saying, you know what, pairs aren't going to fit in the dorm, I'm not going to be able to go ship these things without a car, I kind of worked around it and said, well, I have a big presence. At that point, I had probably close to 10K. Maybe I already had 10K followers, to be honest, on Instagram. And that prompted me to realize that I had a lot of connections that I had built up. There was no point in letting it all go to shit. But I also I had to accept the reality that I couldn't do the business the way I was used to.
Yeah.
So that's where I started drop shipping shoes. And I think I told you guys about this when we were talking before. But I was able to make a good amount of money without ever touching shoes, because I would buy them in bulk from a lot of my big sellers, some of the smaller pages, then I'd post them up on my story. It was all brand new shoes too, so I didn't have to show condition or any of that stuff that's, specifics with used. I adapted to where I could do it easily. So I'd buy like 50 pairs of Panda Dunks for what? 200 a piece back then. They were going for, a decent amount. Then I'd sell them, bulk deal, run the sizes down, post it on my story. 50 Panda Dunks, 210 a piece, 220 a piece. It was bulk, and I would make, a small margin, but I would do it in big size without ever having to touch a shoe, because what I'd do is I'd buy them, I'd post it, and then I'd have a buyer on my end who took them from me. I'd make my profit. I'd have the seller that I originally bought from send it directly to them, because I'd buy them from the person. They'd say, what's your address? I'd say, hold on to them for me. I'm going to find a buyer. And that way I didn't have to get a box of 50 shoes in my mail room.
And at that time, you were also getting into, day trading and stuff like that.
Boom. That's another thing I got into. So
that's it seems like that's like the TikTok-y way of financial freedom.
There's a lot of those.
It's literally drop shipping, day trading. I mean,
Temu.
Have you seen Temu?
I've seen. What is
that? It's like a scam app, bro.
I've seen ads for that with the phone on the Notes app.
I send those to people, bro. I love doing that.
Yeah, little financial freedom. Hell yeah. But So what? Yeah, we were talking about the day trading, right? So
I'm just curious, like how. I mean, like we were talking about balance as well. How did you literally balance, school, your social life, having your sneaker business, learning how to invest, and like how'd you just do all that?
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's honestly looking back at it, it's more impressive than it sounds more impressive than it probably is. First of all, the drop shipping shoes. I had really good connections at that point already because of how much I worked in the summer, so I could find really good deals to source quickly, and then I'd post them up and they'd sell fast because the demand for new shoes is pretty constant. There's always going to be resellers who will take them in bulk, send them to their consignment stores or something. So I would actually be able to get like 1 or 2 deals done per day, and it'd take like an hour at max. Yeah. And by the way, remember, because I say 1 to 2 deals, but at like a 50, 60 pair deal, so I'd make a lot off that one deal. Not to brag, but I was rolling it in, and I was enjoying it more than I even almost had ever enjoyed the business. And so I was doing that up to like the end of first semester, at which point I would also get into day trading. I had a good class schedule. For anyone who doesn't know, the U.S. stock market is open from 9:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. every day. And I had a schedule where classes, so first of all, the main part of that is it's also closed on the weekends. So it can't really eat into your social life. And second of all, it's closed at night, so it also can't really eat because no one really hangs out at fucking 12 on a Monday, right? So you've always got that. That's it's one of the reasons I love trading. You can be pretty good at trading and dedicate the full proper amount of time to it, sit in front of your screen all day if you need to in the summer, and still not be, a socially secluded person because at night you can't trade. So, I mean, you could be a Bitcoin trader and stuff, but that never really interested me. Foreign exchange, all that stuff. That's not I like stocks more. So I learned about, day trading, that was also through reselling because that's how I learned about day trading. There's a reseller I worked with a ton. He'd always be posting these screenshots of his winning trades. I'm like, holy shit, what is this guy doing? I was close enough with him to be able to call him. He talked to me. He had a group chat. He let me in, and from there on out, I got into trading, and like I said, I had time. I had classes that were kind of spread out throughout the morning, mid-afternoon, to where I all the time could afford to come back to my dorm, grab lunch, sit down at the chart for like an hour and a half, 2 between classes, and just kind of observe, put a little money into it. I would lose a lot at the beginning. I lost a good amount of money just being stupid. Thankfully, I had more to fall back on because of the shoes, but definitely be informed. I wouldn't say I was quite informed enough, but so I just would learn trading. And so through that, because I was doing my trading and shoe deals in between gaps midday between my classes, I did shoes a lot on Sunday, which that was my homework day, but I'd clear the homework in the morning, do shoes at night. And so that was, I didn't really have to be on much. If I get 3-4 good shoe deals in on a Sunday, boom, I'm done. I don't even need to work Monday, Tuesday for that.
So right now, would you say that you dedicate more of your time to day trading or to sneakers?
Day trading, 100%. Well, okay, so specifically right now, this summer, I'm trying to make a resurgence on Instagram, come back, go crazy with the sales on my personal page like I used to. People, I think, the resellers that I worked with will appreciate me being back. Yeah. But this summer, it's going to be equal, but over the school year, especially this year, trading took total priority for me. And the reason that is because the way I do shoes now, I send a lot of my stuff to Dimensions. I'm pretty close with, the people at Dimensions. Shout out Dor and Marky. They have done something really amazing with that store. And so that's why I also said I only did the drop shipping like I was doing up until end of first semester, because beginning second semester, Dorian gave me a call. He's like, yo, dude, we're opening up a store. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah. These guys made it fast to that level. They're real. If you think I'm a hustler and I'm good at, and you think that I'm good at running shit, bro, you haven't met them then, because they're crazy, bro. Those guys put in the work. They're nice. They're very nice with it. They have a really good drive. And so, yeah, he called me up. He was like, we're going to need shoes. We're going to need people to consign with us. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, you send them shoes. They put them on the shelves. And when they sell, they pay you.
Mm-hmm.
And they were charging me like a 10% consignment fee, which is very generous. They've upped it since, but I'm still locked in with them, still sending them tons of stuff every week. But that was the move, right? And they were like, I think you guys know, they go crazy. Like, their store is not dead at all.
Yeah.
Hasn't been. I don't think it ever will be, to be quite honest. There's talks of expansion, whatever.
I was going to say, they're going to have to move out of that mall at some point.
That's their thing to talk about. But I don't know.
Go to Chicago or something.
Yeah, I mean, I've told them, like, they've got the drive and the presence to do that.
And the connections as well. That's like the biggest thing that I've heard you note on is, like, it's all about the connections.
Yeah, your network is your net worth. I'm going to throw that one out there for anyone, like you, I think a big thing I've been taught in business, because sometimes I can, be a bit of a dick if I'm upset or something. Everyone can be. Everyone can treat someone like, they shouldn't have. Like, it's not like I'm nice to everybody. But the big thing I've learned from business is, like, be cool to people, because you do not know
what
most
they'll
of the
be
time
in 5
off
years,
face
10
value.
years,
One, what they'll be in 5 years, or what they are now.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know how useful of a resource they could be. And I don't want to preach this whole thing and make it seem like you got to look at people like resources, but it's a team effort life, like you've got to, you can
both help each other always. Yeah.
You'd be surprised. I'm surprised myself about what knowing the right people has done for me. If I wasn't cool with Dorian and I wasn't, doing good deals with him when he started reselling on his own before the store, he never would have reached out to me about Dimension. I wouldn't have been one of the first names to come to his mind when he said, yo, we're opening a store. We need people to give us shoes, and we need, and I wouldn't be, I'm still doing it now. I'm still consigning with them. I've got probably 400, 500, 600 pairs in that store of mine that are sitting on the shelves, So, like, it's we're locked in over there. Great guys. But it is just goes to show, like, and I could pull that example of, like, being cool to someone and knowing the right people can get you a lot of places.
You have 10,000 plus references on your IG.
1,000 plus.
1,000. Okay,
10,000 plus followers. Yeah.
Okay, but still 1,000 people vouching, saying we've done good business.
Yeah.
First of all, that shows that you've had over 1,000 clients.
Yeah. Well, I've had. That's the other annoying thing. A lot of people just, like, forget to leave them. I've had a lot of clients, but
and it's also like 1,000 people, make the effort to say, this guy's cool.
Yeah, I really appreciate those people. I mean, I always ask, like, but I always say, like, if you liked the deal and you would actually recommend me, drop a reference. If not, I mean, I'm not going to ask you to hate bomb the comments, but, I mean, don't say anything if you weren't 100% satisfied, why say anything?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how I think about any review. Like, the people who leave 1 star, I mean, I guess if it's a really bad business and you want to say
like, sometimes for fun, like, I'll go on Yelp and just
like
there'll be some fun,
there'll
be like some funny, there'll be funny things that people wrote up, and it's like, what are you even doing with it? You're just hating on, like, it's like you're going to McDonald's, like, you can't hate on McDonald's.
You can't hate on McDonald's, nah.
Well, I think it'd be better to.
That's a party foul.
Yeah, to leave, like, a 5-star review on a restaurant and just, like, make up some crazy story.
That's funny.
Like,
some of the stuff that comes up is like, no way that's real.
Yeah, like, oh, this guy jumped across the counter and saved my life or something. I think that's especially if
it's like a sibling of one of the workers there wrote that. Like,
no, literally. Something I'm curious about is I want you to, like, three different comparisons. Your day-to-day life, during, the COVID summer when you were going crazy.
Right.
Your day-to-day life in college, and then now your day-to-day life now.
Yeah. Okay. So that's a good question. So I kind of already went over my day-to-day life in COVID. I'd wake up, for e-learning somewhere around 9 or 8. I would eat probably a bowl of Captain Crunch, something stupid and unhealthy. Don't do that, guys. Then I would do my e-learning assignments, joke of assignments. All the e-learning stuff was really pretty easy, at least for me. Kind of lucky with my teachers, I guess, whatever. A lot of them didn't care. I would do shoes for a while, 5, 10, 15 hours, like at least 10, honestly, at least 10. And then I would probably hop on Fortnite with my friends. We'd all be on till 2, 3 a.m., sometimes 4. Like, we were grinding, bro. We were getting some victory royales, but it probably wasn't worth the lack of sleep.
I don't know.
It was.
It low-key was. I pumped my stats, dude.
The amount of, like, memories, like, Dave and I have, like this group chat since 8th grade of 7, 8 guys.
You were at it 8th grade. I've been in there since sixth grade when it started.
The guy that's on the edge, you know what I mean?
Like Joey's been kicked out or muted like a couple times.
I've left it. I've like had with all of them.
He'll drop some foul stuff. It's like, what? Like, you just get out.
So back then you were getting. That's crazy. 4 to 6 hours of sleep.
Yeah, like it wasn't ideal, bro. So.
And then
Yeah, it was probably at least 5, but I'm probably exaggerating the 4 of it, but still no. I mean, it was not good sleeping.
Yeah. I mean, when we're that age, like your motor is like that's what I'm wondering. I want to know, when am I gonna lose all the energy I have?
Yeah, I still have a good amount, but I've lost some of it.
Oh, I've lost like. Just, I cannot run. I'm not gonna go run around a playground like some of these kids
hell
do.
No.
For hours. Like, no,
can't happen.
I'm gonna walk. So then in college, what's it like?
It's you lose some of the energy.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing that I make this comparison to myself, I used to be able to pull an all-nighter on Fortnite. Like I used to like it was easy, and actually I enjoyed it. But now if I tried to, I'd fall asleep in my swivel chair at 2 a.m. And I don't really play many video games anymore, but I just don't have the time.
Yeah.
I feel like my brain would just like keep me from doing it.
Yeah.
No,
I was gonna say I can't do sleepovers.
Yeah, I can really
always,
barely.
like,
I just go out late and then
I
come
need to
back.
be at my house. Like I'm not interested. And I'm not interested in like going to someone's house and just laying like chilling in their room with them.
Nah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sometimes it could be nice to like catch up with someone. But
I think like just going out to eat, like that's
that's a better thing. Or I mean going over to someone's house with a group and like doing something fun is good too. But
or go I'll say like going somewhere, but I'm just not gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to be like productive. As a kid, I could just literally just chill with my boy and not even do anything.
No, I feel that. But that's actually one thing that my life has changed a lot being in college. I don't really play video games anymore. And that's why I'm able to better balance like social, sleep, which I still, I feel like most teenagers in this day and age have a fairly bad sleep schedule.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard from most people. If you're one of the few in the minority that has an awesome sleep schedule, good for you. I'm proud of you. I don't. Still don't have a great one. But so I balanced it more though, for sure, in college. And the social life, well, you just get more social opportunity in college. Your parents aren't there to say, no, you can't go out and and my parents have never been like strict.
Yeah.
Shout out them. They let me do what I wanted for the most part socially. But like, it's still like, there's some times in college where you want to go out like at 12 or 1 a.m. do something stupid and your parents wouldn't let you. So you get more like freedom in that sense. And then also just the trading and the shoes, like I said, I had to adapt with the shoes, and that created balance because the way I adapted fortunately took less time, and I wasn't making quite as much, but I was making a lot. And then with Dimensions, it was more effortless second semester until now because I'm like shipping them a shitload of shoes, right, from someone. It takes me like an hour to close a deal, put in all the info into my spreadsheet and theirs, but then they get the shoes, they put them on the shelf. It's not my so I get to...
I got a question. So Dimensions, they didn't go to college and whatnot. What do you feel like you're going? They didn't, right?
No.
No. So what do you think is stopping you from doing something like that, where you don't go to college, you just take the shoe selling full time and either go into business or you have your own store and just sell shoes the whole time? Is that not something you want to be in for the rest of your life, or you want it to be?
It kind of surprises me that like you're in college.
You're doing all this. Like what?
Say that.
Like what do you feel like college is giving you?
Social.
It's given me social, and it's given me just like education. I always wanted to like go to college.
It's stuff that you don't think you've learned.
I feel it's like
a lot of it. No, but
I think you're learning a lot just from your day to day. A lot.
No, I know. I think it's like, and I was actually like, I committed to Villanova, and obviously at the end of that summer, after I'd gone so crazy, I had a moment where I was like, damn, like, because I know I can't do this same stuff from Villanova, but it's like, what if I just didn't go and kept on doing this? I think I would have been lonely. I think I would have been kind of bored. So there's a social aspect. It's branching out. I'm in a new part of the country now.
You're
in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
You force being uncomfortable, which forces change, and that's what happened. That being uncomfortable forced me to change the fundamental nature of my business in a way that actually ended up working. And so I was like upset for a while. I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to quit. I'm gonna stop making money. Then I found stocks. Then I found drop shipping. Then
so you think when
Dimensions found me?
Yeah, you think when college is over, you'll just find something that'll be
I think so.
what you take on full time?
That's what I'm thinking.
That's how I feel. Like if I had some sort of whatever good business like you had, like I just want to go to college just to go to college.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Like imagine like the amount of think about the amount of social skills that you learned in high school. You learned like
but you're not paying $30,000 to go to high school. You're free high school.
Yeah,
that's what I'm just saying. Is like
you can look at the money aspect, but like
I mean,
at the end of the day, it's there's more to that. I'm curious, what was your day-to-day life looking like in college?
Yeah, I mean, so right now, you mean, or like?
Yeah,
no,
like you could like look at like what it was 2 months ago or whatever.
Yeah, so like I'll give a weekday example because I mean that's where I get most of my work done. I'm actually turned into a lazy weekend person, and I used to use the weekends, especially during COVID and even during like some of freshman year, especially Sundays, to like get work done. I've turned into a lazy weekend person. You know, I hang out with friends, do stuff, you know, college things, but and on a weekday. All right, so I wake up 9, eat something. Usually don't eat great breakfast in college, not going to lie, but trade stocks for a little while, make some money off that. Then I do my classes, do my homework, and go to the gym. That's pretty much it. And I do shoe deals in between that, right? But I'm still like the trading, you can once you get it down, I'm still not as good as I want to be at all. So, like, I think I could get much better. But once you get it down to a decent extent, you can, you know, spend like an hour or two a day and have one good trade. I mean, a good trade can take like 10 seconds if you time it right. And that's a whole nother rabbit hole that I could get into explaining that I'm not gonna. But basically the point is it doesn't need to take that long, and it usually doesn't. So I am able to balance, you know, being able to trade, getting okay sleep, right? Like I also have a roommate. We're very close. I'm living with him again next year at off-campus housing. But yeah, so like, we would stay up late, like play Mario Kart. So I brought my Switch over in college.
Yeah.
That's the only video game I really played, but that was, you know, every once in a while. But in general, I would be able to balance pretty well. I hit the gym like 5 days a week in college. College is when I started working out. I was late to the train. That's become one of my new serious passions. That's my next thing. Like stocks, I like. You know, shoes, I like. Already kind of nailed it. Still riding that wave. Stocks is like something I'm still really working on getting better, but I'm kind of there. And then gym has lately been like the thing where I'm not there and I know it and I want to get, you know, to not be cringy. I want to get shredded.
Yeah.
Like it's that simple.
Yeah,
so,
I was gonna say, like, you talked about how this summer is like the summer for 574 kicks to be, or 574 sneakers, to be rejuvenated. Tell us what like your day-to-day life is gonna be like now.
Yeah, so well, I've actually thankfully lived about 5 or 6 days of this summer so far, so I can give you a little breakdown of what that is.
But yeah.
And it's actually crazy how productive I've been in these last 5 days. Not to brag, and I'm not sure it'll last, you know, but I hope it does.
Yeah.
I've been really productive. So I wake up 9, 10, depending on the day. I went on Friday, I hung out with some of my friends who are also back from college, Adam's kids, caught up with them, and I think I'm going to be hanging out with them every weekend, but mostly weekdays I keep for productivity. But so I wake up, eat a big breakfast. I'm bulking this summer. I will throw that in there. So I'm eating like 1,500 calorie meals. Like I'm doing like 4,000, 4,500 calories a day. So that's been a big part of this summer.
A lot of smoothies.
A lot of smoothies, a lot of protein shakes for breakfast. I wake up a lot, not super hungry, and so having a shake that I can drink helps me force it. You know?
Yeah.
But so there, I eat my breakfast, sit down and trade. I hop on voice chat on Snapchat in a group chat with one of my friends from home, like from here, an Adam's friend, Vian Mariani. I don't know if you guys know him, but yeah, shout out him. He's my good friend, been like homies since first grade. And then one of my buddies from Villanova, and both of them trade with me. They're both into trading as well. I got them into it partly, but they had also just kind of seen like the financial stuff, gotten interested, and they're like, oh shit, you do it. Like, yeah, let's do it together. So we trade on voice chat. I would say like, it depends on the day and what the market's doing. Some days it's like moving really well. It's entertaining. We find a ton of good trades and we're on for like 4 hours until like mid-afternoon. Others were on for like 1 hour. Like today I was on for like an hour.
Yeah.
Made a quick bit of money and got out because I was like, yeah, I'm going to do something else. So when I'm doing something else in the mid-afternoon, early afternoon, I'm doing shoe deals this summer because I've been buying. I mean, I've already got like 100 pairs ready to be sold. So if any of you guys see this and want to check out the sales, I'm going to do a little shameless plug here. Check out 574 Sneakers. I'll have pairs.
Are these like story sales or posts?
Story sales.
Okay, I was going to say, because you only have like 7 posts.
I have like 30. I have like 30 or 40 posts. I have a lot of posts up. Yeah, I have like.
That's not that much though.
No, it's not. Not what you'd expect,
yeah.
right? Like you'd expect like to see every single shoe I've ever sold,
Literally.
but I couldn't do that. It's on my story archive is crazy though. It's like
that's
and that's even considering I usually delete the stories of the ones that sell the first time around. But. Yeah, so that's that. So I do a lot of shoe stuff. These past few days, this is abnormal in terms of my overall college life, for example, or even compared to last summer. When last summer I was like in front of the trading like the whole time because I was still in that mastery phase, and I'm not a master at it, so I'm not. Can't even call that. But I was still in the intense learning phase last summer, which I'm not. I wouldn't say in anymore. So, yeah, do shoes, then cook my lunch. Cooking, I'm trying to learn to cook more this summer because I'm living off campus next year, and I'm not going to get a dining hall plan because I like to bulk off my own food where I know everything that's in it.
Tastes a lot better.
It tastes a lot better, and I also can count the calories and macros perfectly.
Do you have a food scale?
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say that's like the one thing that you're gonna need then.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it over for sure. We're gonna need that, but. Yeah, so cooking has played a big part. Preparing my meals. My parents always cook the dinners, but I'm in charge of my breakfast smoothie, which is quick, and then my lunch, which takes longer to cook. Most of the time, and then at like 2, 3, or 4, depending on when I ate my lunch, I'll go to the gym with my good friend Parker Elliott. Also went to Adams, if any of you guys know him. Great kid. Shout out him. He's been pushing me pretty well, and once some of my other friends get back from college, we'll be going with them as well to Charter Fitness. So yeah, lifting, that's been my mid-afternoon, and then I come back, it's probably about dinner time. I'll eat dinner, and then after dinner, it's kind of more shoes. I'll check out the stock charts to see how the day ended and see what to expect tomorrow, and then I'll either, hang out with friends or like go to bed or just like chill out, talk. Text people, I don't know. But just that's when I have like I give myself like 2, 3 free hours at the end of the night. Sometimes just watch YouTube, like
just relax.
Yeah,
do what you really want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes I get carried away with the relaxation and it eats a little bit into my sleep, but I'm still getting like 7 hours. So I would say the summer's been balanced and productive, and I'm hoping to keep it that way.
Something I'm curious about is you could look back at even elementary school. Back then having your stand. Making money that way. And then in high school, it was all about selling the sneakers. It seems like since then, you just keep gradually, adding stuff to your arsenal.
Yeah.
Do you have something that, you're going to add next? Are you always looking for that next thing? Or are you just trying to really, hone in on what you're good at right now and just go crazy with that?
That's an interesting question that I don't actually even know the answer to.
Yeah. Have you thought about that?
Way. I don't know. So
it's like you're on that kind of self-improvement. I'm
big into self-improvement. Yeah. I'm always kind of trying to think what I can do to make myself better. Or at least to get better at the things I'm interested in. Like I said, I'm a kind of extremist person, so I try to go all in. If I feel like there's something I'm going to be into, know damn well I'm going to give it my full effort, right?
Yeah.
That's the type of person I am. But there's not really a next big thing right now because the gym thing is like a new really big one. I've been going to the gym since I started college, but lately I'm like,
you're locked in.
Now I'm locked in. I want to get huge, right? Creatine, bulk, whatever. I was inspired by a lot of the aesthetics guys, and I know you know who Ziz is.
Oh yeah,
rest in peace, Ziz. But yeah, a lot of those guys kind of inspired me to just get in the gym, be myself, go crazy. So there's no next big thing right now because I was kind of thinking of getting it really into gym for a few months now, and now I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Because summer, I got time.
David, I want you to ask your question.
Oh, how do you define personal success? Because, you've been successful in multiple different things, but, you're not at the top of any of them, technically. No one's ever at the top of any of their stuff. So how do you define your personal success? Because you'll never, reach your end goal because your end goal will keep changing.
Yeah, that's true.
So, how do you keep...
That's a good question.
Just how do you define success, I guess?
Well, and I guess first, before I answer that, I guess I'll touch on your thing about the, trying to add a bunch of new things. I've never really thought of it that way, but I guess, trends come and go and life changes. And that's, sometimes you got to adapt. Like I talked about with the business, couldn't do it how I wanted to when I got to college. So I kind of had to move on, some luck I ran into, I found trading, and by not luck but dedication, I got decently good at it, right? So there's gonna be a bit of luck, like when you find certain stuff, but I think the main outcome on in anyone's life is gonna be how hard they work for it. Like, I hate the people who attribute everything to luck, like, oh, he got lucky getting this. I'm not talking about myself. I'm talking about like billionaire CEOs, like, oh, he got so lucky. No, he worked his ass off. He was, blood, sweat, and tears. So I try to find new things, definitely. If something piques my interest, like I said, if it really piques my interest, I'm going to, like, go all in and go crazy with it, or at least try to. And so in that sense, I think new things will keep coming into my life and old ones kind of slowly fading out. But I think because of the fact that I try so hard to get good at things when I do, the skills I've learned from the old ones, I'll hope will never fade away, right? Like, I've been a year and a half or two not doing my 574 sneakers business the way I'm used to it, the way I started it. But just now, this summer, I'm realizing I've got the time, and I'm pulling that card back out of the stack, right? Like, I'm going back to my old ways, and I'm not sure if it's going to be as good as before because I haven't actually done a sale yet. I'm acquiring inventory, but all my connections are still there. All the homies, they recognize me. Yeah, selling to me, I'm buying stuff. So we'll see. So I think, like, this idea of, like, moving on to new things in life, 100%. Times change. Logistically, some things just can't be done to a certain point, and you got to figure out something else. Yeah. And that's where luck can come in if you find the right thing. Yeah. Right? But I think anyone can, do this type of thing if you're willing to put in the work, and just, think out of the box and don't be afraid to not be like everyone else, is a kind of cliche way to put it. But definitely, I think these skills that I learn will stay with me by the fact that I put a lot of work into getting good at them. So even if they're not being actively used, I'll have that in the back of my, into my toolkit. And so I think that actually can tie into the idea of how do you define personal success. And I would say one way I would define it is, making sure if you genuinely feel like you're putting your wholehearted effort into something, regardless of the outside results that others might see, and, retaining that knowledge and, having cards to play later in life. Like, this business that I've done through 574 Sneakers, the experience I've gotten through this is going to help me for the rest of my life. Yeah. And the same kid that was selling snacks, like, that whole entrepreneur mindset.
So, like, you lose $5,000 on a sneaker deal, but, like, you put your all into it, you would still define that as successful?
That's a hard question.
That's a kind of
that's kind of like what you were saying. Like, no. I would say, because you learned, like, from that. You learned from that, like, man, like, I shouldn't do deal with him because, like, maybe he taxed you or something, and you're like, now I can't even sell these because my upcharge would be something that no one wants to pay. Yeah. So you learned that, but, like, deep down, the deal wasn't successful, but maybe you still became a successful person off of it.
Yeah, so that's kind of
what you were saying.
That's kind of an extreme example, but I think there's a few components to success that I would describe. So one is the willingness to not let failure put you down. Like that, the example you just gave, nothing that bad has ever happened to me in reselling, but I've definitely taken some L's. Everyone does in business, and being able to bounce back from those is huge. Being able to get up in the face of defeat and say, nope, I'm going to keep going. Like, that's the biggest one in a sense, because it's like, if you're a quitter, then you're never really going to get to where you probably wanted to be before you quit. I won't say get to the top, because that's a very, like, more important that you achieve your own goals rather than, like, what society would consider the golden goal, right? I think you got to be more focused on what do you want, right? You don't, like, not everyone has to get to the top and be a billionaire CEO. What do you want? Yeah. So if you're able to meet your own goals, honestly, that you set for yourself, I would consider that success. I would consider not being a quitter and being able to take defeat and losses as success. And more importantly, to learn from them, take note, don't let it happen again. And another thing is to make sure that what you're doing in life is maybe somehow contributing to your knowledge in a consistent way and giving you resources mentally. I would call that success too. And the final component that I think is most important about success is not to overwork yourself and to make sure that you've got, like, your mental's good, your social connections are good, and that you are genuinely happy in life. I think that's a big marker of success. And of course, like, if you do all 4 of those things and you consciously devote energy to it, right? Like setting your own goals and being able to meet them honestly.
Yeah.
Acquiring knowledge and retaining it for later use, helpful knowledge, not like, just like good life experience stuff. And then being able to get up in the face of defeat and watching and checking your own mental health and the health of others around you and your relationships and, sleep, food, whatever, like all that stuff. I am almost certain that anyone who devotes time and effort to those 4 things will, like, without a doubt, be successful. And I'm not even talking just financially. I mean, those 4 characteristics I would say
help
are very
you with
important.
that, but like it helps you with success, being successful in whatever you want to be.
Living a good life.
Yeah, it just applies to everything.
It helps you with living a good life. Like, be a good person, it's those 4 characteristics are huge to me.
Something that I really I'm curious about, and this is like a great way to end the podcast with this question is how did you, I'm curious, what advice do you have for someone who, is chasing their dreams but also wants to balance a lot of important relationships in their life? Because I can imagine that's something that's tough for you. That's something it's
tough for everyone.
Tough
right?
for me, when I just don't want to hang out with people that much. You know what I mean? It's and I've definitely let friendships go to shit, but it's I'm kind of curious, what advice do you have on that? Because you're a lot more experienced. Yeah,
the whole you'll lose friends on your way to the top thing, that it's I guess somewhat true. But those 4 things I was just talking about, it really all has to do with balance and fortitude mentally, right? And so the balance part, it's kind of hard to give flat out advice on it because everyone's situation and, everyone's situation's extremely different.
Yeah.
Right? So, I was lucky to grow up in a, solid family life and stuff. But there definitely are people who aren't as fortunate. But I would say, do your best in life. What your body needs.
Yeah.
Right? Your body will tell you if you're not treating it right. Your mind will tell you if you're not treating it right. So try to put yourself back in check if those kind of signals appear, right? Like the burnout, took a break, came back. So balance it, try to maintain relationships socially. Like I said, your network is your net worth, but it also just helps you enjoy life to have a good circle of people, be good with your family, keep them close. There's a lot of things like that, but in terms of, it's kind of hard to answer, but all that stuff, hopefully.
You gotta, it's all about balance at the end of the day.
It's all about balance. It's all about balance at the end of the day, and it's also all about your attitude towards life.
Yeah.
If you got a positive winner attitude, you probably won't lose in the grand scheme of things. We're everyone dies and no one's truly ever remembered forever type of thing. The world goes on, but you got to make sure while you're here that you're enjoying it. What's the point if you're not, right? You got to, and everyone can put themselves in that good situation. And so hopefully if I inspired anyone today, besides just to start reselling, it's try to be a balanced person and try to, achieve these factors that'll lead to your success. And I'm not once again talking about being a millionaire. I'm talking about being just a happy person and leading a good life. But I do think that those traits can help you chase the bag.
So after hearing you answer that, I just have one last thing. What if someone were to talk about you, or if you you said remembered by, what is the one characteristic that you'd want them to say? What do you want, you know what I mean? Oh, you're Gabe, but Gabe is a blank person.
Well-rounded.
Well-rounded.
I was gonna say hard worker, but that kind of defeats the whole balance thing I just said, because you can still be a balanced hard worker, but I think in the end, my main goal in life is to be more well-rounded, which is also why I choose different things to pick up on. And I'm still, I kind of hyper-fixate on certain things sometimes, but definitely I wanna be remembered as a well-rounded person.
David, what would you say?
Versatile.
Yeah. Versatile is a good one.
Yeah, versatile.
Dave, what would you say?
I don't know.
Really?
Maybe poetic.
Oh my god!
Because it's not just the way you use.
He's writing raps and
it's
stuff.
It's not the way you just use the words, but your actions also speak poetry through what you're doing. Poetry is just a way to define.
That was majestic.
The way you're acting.
David's majestic.
People will say
majestic ass guy.
Artist, you can be an artist when you're drawing. You can be an artist when you're singing. You can be an artist when you're playing basketball. Everything has art to it, which art a section of art is poetry, and being able to like know how different ways to group things together and rhyme it together to make things flow and go with it. Like
this is actually like
that's the way it
that's
goes.
The deepest I've ever heard anyone go into poetry, but it's
David
facts though.
Deep. For me, like
that's good.
Because I've like thought about this question before. For a while, I just wanted to be known as like a winner.
Yeah.
You know, someone who like literally, I'm serious. Like I wanted to be known as like a winner, but like that kind of sounds, you know, kind of cliche. Nowadays, I'd probably just say someone who's like goal oriented. And like I would say almost like ever changing. I don't want to become that old head that speaks.
That's kind of what I was tapping into with that.
I don't want to become like those old heads that like speak the advice, but they don't take it. You know what I mean? Like there's those guys that are like 70-year-old guys, and like they're like, oh man, you gotta do this, but it's like what are you doing?
Yeah.
That kind of
what did you do in your life?
You know what I mean? Or like, I want to know like I want to be the person that is 70 years old and always still trying to become better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I for sure get that, and I think that well-roundedness is a main factor, right? Like, you know, because you can succeed in a lot of different areas if you're driven. So I guess driven's another word I could use, but well-rounded I think just encapsulates what I'm trying to get at in this podcast overall more efficiently, which is like, you know, focus on your grind and focus on what you're into, but at the same time, you know, pay attention to what's around you. Like life moves fast, you blink, you'll miss it type thing. Yeah. You know, so... But yeah, the winner thing is kind of true too. Like I can't even call that cringe because
who doesn't want to win?
Who wants to lose? Yeah. Right? Like who wakes up in the morning and says, I want to lose today? If it's you, then check yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like for real.
Some people are
like the way I look at it is don't compare yourself to anyone, because like you look around, you see nobody around you who's there to lose to. So if you compare yourself to yourself, there's no one to lose to. Therefore, you win every time.
No, so I wouldn't say that because you gotta look at self.
That's why you have to have your
you gotta compare today's self to yesterday's self.
Yeah, because you're in your own room by yourself. There's no one else in your room. That's exactly what I'm saying. People will always like hear what I say, and they think I'm saying something really bad, and then they'll like say a take, like a side take on why it doesn't make sense, and it literally just backs me up completely.
Damn.
Like I'm saying,
I compare myself to others. I want to be doing more. I want to be.
Like you want to compare yourself to others?
Yes.
Okay, I guess that's one way. That's one way to live if you want to live like that.
I think. All right, I'm gonna take a middle ground in between the two. I think if you compare yesterday's self to today's self, or last year's self to this year's self, and aren't seeing improvements, that should be a wake-up call. And improvements are subjective because you're making your own decisions on have you improved this or that, and sometimes like. You might have gotten worse at something in society's eyes, but like in your own eyes, it's where your goal wanted to be, right? So like there's a million ways that could change, but I think you definitely want to look at your own progress and your own actions and your own path and check yourself and like figure out if you're on the right path you want to be, which also goes back to the thing of to be successful, you've got to set yourself honest, meaningful, and realistic goals. If you set a goal, mean it. Don't do any of that New Year's resolution, January 1st bullshit. You go to the gym for 1 week and then you're like, all right, done. I'm done with the gym. I'm going to cancel my membership. Like, goals are a total L if you're not going to actually put in the work to pursue them. But if you put in, you know, if you make those goals, you pursue them, then you're going to look back, oh, last year I was doing this. Now I'm actually finally doing this.
That's why I don't look at it as like a goal. I look at it as a step. You got to have yourself steps. You look at it as a goal.
Yeah.
Goal is like a soccer net, right? You shoot it in the goal. It can't go past the net if you make it. So it goes in the net. Okay. You bring it back to the middle.
He's actually he's got me.
You bring it back to the middle. You start over. Why start over? Why not have steps to the top that never ends? Well, you have each step. So I want to get 5 steps up. 5 steps up is blank. I want to sell 100,000 shoes. You sell 100,000 shoes. You made that goal. Now what? You're going back to 0?
No, that wasn't the point either.
You get 1 point and you get to go back to no. No, that's why you have to set yourself steps and not goals. That's why I don't understand goal-oriented people. Is you set a goal
because
you just end it. That's it.
Nah. Here's the thing.
The next thing.
You're acting like you can't hit a goal and then set a new one once you complete it. It's like a checkpoint, bro. You've got to
still go backwards.
Nah.
Exactly. No, you got to change the word. Checkpoint. Step.
No. Checkpoint.
No. So
now that completing a goal is the checkpoint, and then you set a new one. Right now, my goal is to bulk up to. I'm not gonna reveal the weight. My goal is to bulk. That's a goal. It's a step along the major vision.
You get it in.
Get shredded.
You get it in.
It's all just about how you.
There's a block. There's a wall there.
No.
That's why you set steps.
You're thinking closed-minded though, bro. You've got like it's all about.
No, you're thinking closed-minded. You're thinking inside your goal.
Dave, I think that what you're misunderstanding is
I think
you
it's all about how you phrase it though,
and that becomes your new normal. Your new normal is better than your old normal.
Exactly.
And you can always become
so
better.
it's steps.
No.
It's steps. It's literally just a metaphor
used. It just depends how you define goal.
This is all like.
It just depends how you subjectively think of a goal.
It's all about like this is just like language, like.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm trying to say like using the word step rather than using goals, because goals literally you shoot it in the goal. Your sides are blocked. Your front is
playing
blocked.
soccer over here.
The only side. Fine, hockey. You get it in. Fine. You'd rather do field goals because field goals have no end.
Yeah, field goals work. Field goals work.
There. I want to go set some
range.
field
the ball
goals
can keep
today.
Bouncing. Yeah, all right. Let's set some field goals for ourselves so that we can surpass it and keep surpassing it.
Yeah, keep scoring those 3 pointers.
Yeah.
I think I'd rather get a touchdown than a field goal, Dave. You think you gotta start over after a touchdown.
Yeah, but you're starting over up 7 points, right?
Yeah,
so that's the thing. You're scoring the goal. All right, you're starting over up 1-0.
Nope.
Yeah.
I'd rather run up steps by myself than compare myself and see if I'm losing to another person on one field.
I'm not talking about
who's getting the most points on a field. Who's getting the most touchdowns.
I'm talking about myself.
You play football by yourself?
No. I'm saying when you're setting goals, you gotta set your own
you keep
goals.
putting yourself in the little
I think
tunnels.
he's just trying to be too technical about the word goal. I'm not talking like.
I'm just kind of confused right now.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused too.
No, I was gonna say you're man. It was probably like damn near 10 minutes ago at this point, but I was gonna say that was like a banger way to end the podcast.
Yeah.
What was it that you said?
I don't know. I forget. David was challenging my use of words.
Let's set steps in life.
All right, steps.
Not goals.
I'll go with goals. He can go with steps.
Yeah.
It's subjective. Yep. Do what you like in life and don't compare yourself to others. So I'm gonna use goals.
I was gonna say like. Obviously, people will know where to find you just from listening to this. But can you just shout out your stuff again?
Yeah. All right. So my Instagram for reselling is 574 sneakers. I've got my personal account tagged in there if you care. But yeah, that's where to find me. 574 SNKRS.
Yeah, and this summer is also going to be like, he didn't touch on this in the podcast, but a little more content creation as well.
That's true.
So
That's
true.
And then content creation.
Yeah, so this is our 47th episode. Yeah, one of the last ones, and what a great one to have is, I was gonna say, so thank you, Gabe.
Yeah, no problem. It was a
blast.
Time.
I look at that. It's a blast.
It was a fun time.
So check us out on everything. Just Chips and Chops Podcast. All right, peace.
Hell yeah, peace out.